The Little Cypress Mauriceville CISD Board of Trustees has called a voter approval tax rate election, or VATRE, for Tuesday, November 8th, 2022. The VATRE could generate an estimated additional $2.1 million annually and lower the total tax rate. This video has been prepared by Little Cypress Mauriceville CISD. It is factual and is intended to inform the voters of Little Cypress Mauriceville CISD about the upcoming election. It will explain what a VATRE is and why the Board of Trustees has called the election. School districts are funded through two main sources: local tax dollars and state funding. Local taxes are collected and go into two different funds or pockets: maintenance and operations, or M&O, which include Tier 1 and Tier 2 funding sources, and interest and sinking, or INS. The M&O pocket pays for the everyday operation of the district, including salaries, books, and building maintenance, while the INS pocket is similar to a mortgage and can only be used to pay the debt on school bonds. The state of Texas funds school districts based on a series of formulas that take into account our local tax rate. Specifically, the higher the local M&O tax rate, the more funding we receive from the state of Texas. The M&O tax rate is broken down into two parts. The required part is called Tier 1, which is the basic level of funding from the state, and it funds the program with state aid and a local share produced by a tax rate which is determined by the state. The optional part is called Tier 2, which is supplemental or enrichment funding. In the required Tier 1 funding, there is a funding cap for every school district that is made up of a local share and a state share up to the Tier 1 funding cap. In the first example, you can see the district pays about half of the funding and the state pays for the rest. As property values increase, the local share increases and the state share decreases to maintain that same level of funding. If property values ever increase to where they generate more local tax revenue than the funding cap, any additional local property tax revenue goes back to the state of Texas to be reallocated to other school districts across the state. As you can see in this example, there is no way to generate any additional funds in the Tier 1 funding. If a district wants or needs additional funding, Tier 2 allows up to 17 additional pennies of enrichment, 5 of which do not require voter approval, and up to 12 pennies that must be approved by the voters. Thus, we see that a VATRE is the only way to generate additional revenue. Our current tax rate is 97.25 cents on the M&O side and 37.01 cents on the INS side, for a total tax rate of $1.3426 for every $100 your property is appraised. Voting for the VATRE increases the M&O tax rate to $1.0425 and lowers the INS tax rate to 30 cents, for a total tax rate of $1.3425 and will result in a 0.01 cent decrease of the tax rate. This decrease will produce an additional $2.1 million annually for the district by raising the M&O tax rate, and will lower the tax rate by 0.01 cents. If we don't make these changes, the district will not receive this additional funding. In fact, for every $100 we collect with these 12 additional M&O pennies, we gain $101 of additional state aid. So we're able to generate $201, and it only costs us $100 in local taxes. If we don't add the pennies, we leave the additional state dollars on the table in Austin, Texas, and choose not to bring them to the Little Cypress Mauriceville CISD. The bottom line is this: if the VATRE passes, the M&O tax rate will increase by 7 cents, and the INS tax rate will decrease by 7.01 cents, with a net decrease of 0.01 cents, and the school district will receive an estimated additional $2.1 million annually. If the VATRE does not pass, the district will not receive the additional funding. The district and the Board of Trustees have called the voter approval tax rate election, but the voters are the ones who decide the outcome of the election. Early voting begins Monday, October 24th, and continues until Friday, November 4th. Election Day is on Tuesday, November 8th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Voting locations can be found on the district website, as well as administrative and campus offices. All eligible, registered voters are encouraged to become informed and exercise their right to vote in this important election.